I'm Sahana Parameswara. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm here on Treaty 6 as a settler. I'm also the Executive Director of Gateway Association, and Singh and Rabia Naseer approached me to partner on this grant to look at intersectionality within disability.
My name is Singh. I also go by Singh, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Edmonton Shift Lab, a unique social innovation project in the city of Edmonton, as well as one of the founders of the Edmonton Anti-Racism Lab.
My name is Rabia Naseer, and I'm one of the lab stewards with the Edmonton Anti-Racism Lab, working with Sam.
Hi, my name is Gill, and I am the co-founder and executive director of ReYu Paralysis Recovery Centre, which is one of the organizations that applied for the grant to run this program, to look at the intersection of racism and disability.
This project came at a really good time because Gateway is on its own journey at this point. In 2022, we began our anti-racism and organizational change journey, and it is very clear that research shows that Black, Indigenous, and people of color with disabilities experience more disparities when it comes to quality of life outcomes. How does race add more barriers? How does your culture add more barriers? How does language, ethnicity, faith add more barriers to the barriers that already are brought forward by ableism?
They've had to do a lot of introspection, being a part of this study, thinking about how have they been discriminated against with not only having a disability but also having colored skin. And it's something that we don't often think about.
Disability can come in so many different ways and so many different manifestations. And for some folks, they were born this way. For other folks, something may have happened to them or something impacted their physical abilities. And so it was interesting to see how, despite having very different backgrounds and having very different experiences, that in the end, when they came to us in this focus group, they were all here together, kind of having a common experience and kind of going through a lot of common frustrations of just living their lives in the city of Edmonton with a disability.
How do you bring this anecdotal information, the research information, to the community that's actually meeting people with disabilities day to day? So how is this impacting practice?
And one of the challenges we realized as we were working on this idea was just to get people that are racialized with disability together. So that was a big challenge because we knew that there is a community, but to tap into that was very, very challenging. And I think that's where getting on board with Sahana at Gateway Association, and then Gill has been amazing. She just has this community, she connects with everyone, just gives them a call, and she's able to bring a group of people together.
Like, there's so much isolation that's created in this community because there's a lot of shame around disability and there's a lot of insecurity. And so when you're facing things by yourself, it's just that much harder to go through it. So it's so much easier when you have people who truly understand what you're going through. Having people with disabilities come together is really important, and then the added layer of that, of having BIPOC people with disabilities come together and just really be able to understand and support each other.
So, we're part of this group, and it's been a fun group. I have cerebral palsy, and I've never done screen printing before. So this was kind of like the first time I've ever done it. So I didn't really know what to think.
Today's project of drawing the images and coming up with our ideas, I thought was really productive, actually. And it's really nice to see people's creative sides. I didn't really know how creative some of my friends are.
I started off with wanting the kind of blue and white porcelain pattern that's in a lot of like Chinese vases. And I thought of it because we have this large vase in our home that my parents bought when I was very young. And I thought that it was like a really fun demonstration of kind of the immigrant story, like finding pieces of your culture from like when you're far away from home.
Basically, it's representing two individuals, one in a wheelchair and one able-bodied, so to speak, between two partners, both of same gender. people with disabilities can also be a support to individuals, and it doesn't have to be always the other way around, just to show that we also support individuals that need it, and we're always there for them. I wanted to play a little with the idea of a cape and a little bit of a superhero in all of us.
In traditional Chinese culture, disability is still like often very stigmatized or taboo, and I kind of wanted to show an intersection between my culture and my disabled identity, and show like that the label's not something to be ashamed of.
For this workshop, other people came up with images, but I was playing around with words, and I kind of came up with this word disabled. The disability, being disabled, has a very negative connotation that you can't do something. And in fact, people with disabilities just do things differently. They can do everything, mostly everything everybody else can do. So I think we need to change our mindset from disability to different abilities, and therefore disabled.
So for me, I use the phrase, just live your life, you only get one. And for me, that's just something that's been so strong for me this past year, and it's just words that I look to every time that I need motivation, and every time I'm feeling like I'm not doing enough. I just read those phrases in my head, and it just reminds me that there's so much more to life, and that you know, sometimes you're not doing enough. So, you know, just get out there, get motivated, and just live your life, because ultimately, who knows how much time that we have, right?
The art, I can only do so much. I can't use my hands very well. I don't have access to these online things, right? So I've been using digital things through apps on my phone to share and spread awareness. And my art piece is something that's been following me since my disability, which was 7 years ago. I knew the system had a handicap, and it capped me. I didn't like it. So when I came in here, I've always felt like I was doing this, and it's taken so long. When you guys took me in here and you were able to put this art into different colors and context.
Something that I say often is that as a person with a disability, we are both invisible and hypervisible. And so this was my design, where I had just the words and then different fonts at different parts of the words for it to stand out. I feel like a lot of people can resonate with this, whether you have a disability or not. I feel like often all of us feel invisible at times, and maybe some of us experience hypervisibility too.
Yeah.
I can change the color, but I think I like the pink the best.
I like
Right?
that pink. It's really bright.
I'm trying to be more intentional and use pink more intentionally this year.
Yeah.
Because everything I have is green.
So it can expose on the screen. I thought the non-bid version was going to work, but the printer actually turned it into somewhat of a doc structure, which is perfect. Today we just finished our second workshop, mainly focusing on positive making. So our first workshop, we've had everyone do whatever they feel like to make an image. So we've had a lot of folks drawing, and then we've had some folks do some more digital-based stuff. I feel like I've been learning a lot working with these participants, just hearing their stories and hearing about their own struggles and the sort of physical barriers and also systemic obstacles that they face in their everyday life. Hearing about that is incredibly motivating when it comes to art making. It's been really, really rewarding helping these folks turn their ideas into something that is more tangible and more realized in physical form. It's been a great privilege for me to be a part of a project that gives them more spotlight and makes their stories and their experiences a little bit more heard and more visible. And I think since the beginning of time, since the beginning of print media is very much the perfect way to sort of spread that information, to spread that story and that perspective and experience.
I think that we rely a lot on the spoken word, which is important. We also rely on written words. But art brings out a different kind of communication. And I think that embedding art process, printmaking process, screen printing in this project was important to see, somatic experience of disability and from the individual's perspective.
You're taking this from the page in.
Right.
Yeah, so for example, I just found two very different blues, mixed it together, blue pigment as well as just a little bit of black. So you're gonna like print it first on top of this clear sheet, and so then you're gonna put your paper underneath so you know where exactly that print is gonna land on, and then confident. Oh.
That's cool.
Well, today was the third session we had here at SNAP, and we screen printed an image that we thought represents our intersection of disability and racism.
I really, really love the screen printing. Like, even if I couldn't physically do it, like, it's so satisfying to watch. And it was, even designing it, it's really interesting to think in like the layers versus in like a typical image. So I thought that was super fun. And I like how every print comes out a little bit different, a little bit unique. Sometimes, like, some parts drop, some parts don't. And it's just like life, right? Like, everything's so special, and that everything is unique, and sometimes you make mistakes, but that's what makes it like perfect.
So it was pretty amazing experience. I've never done it before. I can tell you it takes a lot of core physical strength, which I don't have, but like it's good to have people help me out, especially Shawn and Kevin for all their support, and I'm really happy with how it turned out.
All this art project started with was an awareness card for accessible parking, something that I'm never included in. It's a parking award that I'm never included in. It's always a problem, and it's the fight that we have alone. So yeah, it was neat to come in here and have it all cut out like that.
People in wheelchairs or people with barriers or disabilities are just as helpful, if not equal or even better, at doing things or supporting other people, because a lot of times people feel that the people in the chair or people with a disability need more support.
I was going to leave the blank space in between the words. That's why I just had picked thick words so that like I could put little characters inside doing like actions, like just living your life, doing art like sports things, like physical things, skydiving, swimming, rock climbing, things like that I've done this last year. I don't think like my thing is about making a change with anybody, like what they have to do, but it's more of like promoting them to live their life and just love life, like as you're doing it, right? So I think I need to speak up, just show this to people and be like, just appreciate everything that you have an attitude of gratitude every single day, and just go out and live your life because you only have one, right?
I didn't realize too that I could silkscreen. Being a person with a disability, I didn't realize you could get to these types of things to do them. I've always known you order this stuff online. So it was cool to come in and know I could piece by piece by piece make this. It was really neat. And you guys put us with all of our peers, which was really neat to be able to do this all together. My logo, my piece of my life now is actually a piece of art, and it's a piece of a community that I became a part of. And that's what I'm really, really thankful for this that we did. Yeah.
Honestly, just watching every single person's here, just their individual ideas and just their passion for their projects was amazing, but everyone had so much brilliant things and just such a little thing. So
For being here, I mean, it's just so cool to push people out of their comfort zones. I don't think I'm an artist by any means, but like still created some art, which is really cool. Yeah, I think by having such a diverse group with such different backgrounds and different disabilities and different stories, it just creates like an atmosphere of inclusion and sharing.
You know, a lot of the participants said like we never thought we would even have the opportunity to do printmaking. So this actually opened up another opportunity for the location as well and the venue to see like, oh, we've never had this many people, you know, from the BIPOC community with disability. So it actually got them to start thinking about like accessibility from their end as well.
You know, while allies, and by that I mean government, the disability sector, folks that really want to see change when it comes to movements in inclusion and equity. Often their intention doesn't necessarily lead to impact. And I think that this project is hoping to do that. This project is hoping to create pathways for more impact. And we can't do that without the voices of the people.
What are our practices? How are we a welcoming space? How are we an inclusive space for folks with disabilities? What works well? What can we do better? And so forth. And so I think that was yet another positive impact of this whole process, was getting these major stakeholder organizations in the city to also reflect upon their own accessibility.
I hope that people do look at the findings of this project, especially to see how they can make changes within their individual organizations, within their funding structures. How can you make changes so that when you're creating an opportunity for someone with a disability, you're also thinking about the other identities that people occupy.
These folks have enormous capabilities in ways that may not be visible, or that you know, the outside world may not see. Yet they still have great capacity to lead, to affect change, to inspire, to do great work that is not just work centered around disability, but can be work centered around anything.